there, crafty friends, it's Tina the Scrappin' Rabbit, and I have a tutorial for you today. So I made this little barn box using the new Jaded Blossom gable dies, and I got a lot of questions on how I put this together, so I decided to do a tutorial so that I can show you guys how useful this gable box die is and the different ways that you can use it. Today I'm going to show you how to do this the roof. There are other ways that you can manipulate the box, and I'll do that in another video. So this is the box that I made for the release, and I love that little piggy. So this is the box that I made to share with you today, and I think that she turned out so cute. And so I'm gonna mess up my bow. Bows are not easy to do. Sometimes it takes me a few tries to get a good looking bow when you have to do it directly on your project. But look at how cute. So it's going to open up like this. And then inside you're going to have your cute little kitty. Ta-da! I love these little tie. I was a big fan of the little Beanie Babies when they were pretty big and people were collecting them and all of that. And so I just love this little Hello Kitty. And I have some friends who adore Hello Kitty. And so it's a big birthday month. So I made this to give as little gifts. And so basically I'm going to walk you through how to put this together. And so I'm just trying to retie my bow here since I pulled it apart. And so this is the little house that we're going to make today. And I think it's so stinking cute. And I may even add some more flowers. I'm not sure. I put the one on there. But let me go ahead and let's get started on what you need to do to make a little roof for your gable box die. So first off, these are the two dies that are the main dies for my project. This is the new gable box die that's available at Jaded Blossom. And then there is this Rick Rack topper die, which is also an awesome die, and many of you do own it. And so if you own this gable box die, you can make the little roof. And if you don't, then you can put together a little box and then use similar measurements, and hopefully this video will still be able to help you. So I'm using this layered piece that looks like this as the panels for my roof, okay? So let me show you all the things that you will need to put together this little box. So you're going to cut out your gable box, and this is, I used some die cuts with view paper, and it's a white cardstock with these little white shimmery stripes. I thought that looked really cute for the house, as you can see. So you're going to need to cut out the two pieces of your gable box. Next, you're going to need to take this die from the Rick Rack die, and you're going to need to cut out eight of them for the roof. So you have 4 for one side of the box, and then you're going to have 4 for the other side of the box. And I'm going to show you how to trim those down to get the stitching to go all the way around to get this really cute little look there. Next, you're going to use the spring dies. I have the spring dies 1 version 2, which I believe is a larger set than the other one that was released. So if you have the Jaded Blossom spring dies or a grass cutting die, you're going to need to cut out. For this particular die, I cut it out twice, and you are going to use 1 full panel and then a piece of the other. And I did trim this down 1/4 inch. Okay, and so this is what it looks like when you die cut it, and then this is what it looks like when it's thinned out. And so I used the 1 piece to go across the 3 sides on the front, and then the additional piece to go on as for the back. So you're going to need to get some grass cut out for your box. I also cut out a window, and for the window I used 2 different dies. So this square die here is from the card mat dies, and it made a perfect window. the square right there. And so that is what I used to cut out the window, was this die right here to get this. And I did it with a light blue. So there's that. The next thing that I did was I used the border dies, and I used this skinny one right here. And it looks like this. And I cut out 2 strips of this one right here. And this is a double stitched die, which is awesome. This is one of my favorite Jaded Blossom die sets. There's so many uses for this one. And so I did cut out 2 of them, and then that's going to give me the frame to go around the window. The next thing that I used for the Hello Kitty box is this label shaped die, and I cut out the smaller one here. So these are much larger than they appear on the front, and you get so many great dies in this set. And so I used the smaller one right here, and I cut it out twice. I cut it out once in white and then once in pink. And because I didn't want it to overpower the roof, I didn't cut the layering piece. I just cut the pink, and then I cut it in half, and then I'm going to glue that, which I'll show you, like that, to get a layered without it being overpowering on the roof. And so I did stamp and emboss this sentiment, which goes perfectly for Hello Kitty, wishing you a happy birthday. And that sentiment is from the Jaded Blossom Meowin' Forever, which is a great sentiment, especially for anybody who likes cats, which I love cats, and so lots of sentiments to go with cat-themed projects. I have this bag of felt flowers that I believe are from, I want to say Hobby Lobby, and so I believe I got these with their Easter stuff. So any kind of a floral embellishment that you might want to use. Oh goodness, it's really stuck on there good. And I just put the one on the front, but I'm thinking that I'm probably going to add a couple more. Maybe I'll do them with the different colors. I'll do one blue and then maybe with the one white to just give it a little extra. I haven't decided. So if you wanted to do any kind of floral embellishments, you can use die cuts, you can use stickers. I just thought that these were really cute, and so that is what I used for my box. And last but not least, you're going to need your little character that you're going to put on here. And this Hello Kitty is an SVG that I created with a program that I have on my computer, and then I moved her into Design Space, and then I cut her out. So now we're ready to begin the tutorial. So once you have your Gable Box die pieces cut out, you're going to add adhesive to the little strips on the side and the bottom of the box. And I'm using a double-sided tape. And then I flip over one side that I want to be the front, and then I'll add a strip of adhesive to the bottom flap on that. So before I decorate the box, I like to put the 2 pieces together, and then I'll go ahead and I'll fold down on the score lines so that I'm ready to put the box together. And now I'm just putting adhesive towards the bottom of the box where I will be putting the grass. Before I adhere the grass, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to trim off the bottom of this cut about 1/4 inch to make it a little bit smaller, because I don't want it to be a jungle on my box. So I'm going to trim it down first. So now I'm ready to put the grass down, and so I'll pull up the tape off of the front 3 sides, and then as I'm folding the grass, I will bend the box how it's supposed to go, so that way it's, because you don't want to press it down flat, because it does need a little bit of give room to make it around those corners. And I do the front 3 sides with it so that it has a more complete look, and you don't see the little opening edges where it separates when you do have to cut it. And to put the window together, I'm going to use my Zig 2-way glue pen, which I really love. That is my go-to for all of my paper piecing. And since these little strips are on the smaller side, I find that that glue definitely helps. And you do have a little bit of time to make sure everything is straight, so you can pull up on it if you need to get your pieces glued properly together. but you do want to make sure that you hold down because it does need a couple seconds to really solidly adhere. And then once it's down, it stays put. That has been a great glue and definitely one of my most favorites to use. And so once I get all the strips going around to make my window, I'll be ready to move on and to get my little sentiment label going. And then I just trim off any excess too if I didn't cut it perfectly. So I use the same 2-way zig glue pen to put on the back of my label, and then I line it up the best that I can. And it's not going to be a perfect fit, but I think that it looks really cute. And then if there are any edges that you feel stick out, then you can always just trim them with the scissors to line them up the way that you need to. Now it's time to do the panels on the roof. And so basically you're going to have 2 full pieces, and then one piece is going to be, 2 of the pieces are going to be cut down for each side. So the first thing that you're going to do is you want this panel to be about 3 inches. So my work mat right here is inches, and so I'm just going to line them up. So this is going to adhere to the top of this piece, and together these 2 pieces are going to be about 3 inches. And it doesn't have to be perfect, but ideally each one of these little the panels are going to have a spacing of 3/4 of an inch. And so if you do it like this, so I'm measuring the 3 inches across the front of my mat here. And so I'm going to go ahead and add some adhesive to the back side of this panel because I know that it's going to adhere to the top of this one. So I'm going to stand up so I can get right over it. And so here's 1 inch, 2 inches, 3 inches. So I'm going to want this to line up so that the total piece is going to be about 3 inches. And then I'm going to go ahead and line it up the best that I can and adhere it down. So there's your 2 full pieces glued together to where the 2 of them make 3 inches. Okay? So then the pieces that you're going to cut, and I'll go ahead and do this twice because we need 1 for each side. So I'm going to line it up, and so I want these 2 pieces here to be 3 inches. And so I'm going to add some adhesive towards the middle bottom of my die cut because that's where it's going to be sticking. So lining it up to where the 2 pieces are about 3 inches. And then I'm just going to try to get them to be as straight as possible. Okay, so now you have 2 pieces that look like this. So one is for, this one's a little bit crooked. It's hard to do it when I'm not right above it, but so then you're going to have 2 pieces like that. So now these are the ones that you're going to cut down for each side. So let me share with you how to do that. Let me zoom out a little bit and bring my big shot. Okay, so you're going to want one piece to be 3/4 of an inch long. And so the way that I do it is I'm going to just eyeball and measure. Doesn't have to be perfect, you just want it to be close. And so from the tip of the rickrack up to right here, that's your 3/4 inch. So that's 0.75 inches, okay? So that is where you're going to want this die here to line up with, because you're cutting this stitch across the top of there. So you lay it back in the die, okay, to where this little mark that I just made with the 3/4 inches is going to go right there. And then you'll just kind of push it down. You'll feel where it sits to where the stitches line up with each other. And then you're going to see it kind of fall in, and then the line that I made, the 3/4 inch, is going to match up with that cut line there. And so I'm just going to make sure that it's straight, and that's going to give me my smallest piece. So I'm just going to sit this in here, and it's going to go cut side down. I'm going to put my do not cut plate on top and send it through. And it's going to give me that smallest strip that I'm going to need across the top of my roof panel. And there you go. So now you have your stitched panel with the rickrack edge. So that's going to be my smallest one that goes across the top like that. So you're going to do that twice. With these two panels, I'm going to cut them at 1.5 inches. So it's going to be double the size. And so this one here, I'll go ahead and measure. I want it to be, let's see, 1.5 inches. So that's going to be about right there. And I'll go ahead and do it to the second piece here. And from the tip of that little rickrack to be 1.5 inches, twice the size of the other one. Did I do that right? I did not. Sorry about that. Thought it looked a little small. So 1.5 inches, which is right here. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and stick it back into the die so that it cuts right there at 1.5 inches. That line right there. And press down so that it sits nice into the stitching. Get it to be as straight as I can. And then put it down onto my Big Shot and cut it. And of course you can just do plain paper and do the little strips and make a nice little roof. I just happen to be partial to these little stitched cuts. I just adore them. And so there you go. You have your one panel there and this one there. And then it is going to, let's put this one, it's a little bit bigger, look like that. So here are my pieces, and now I'm just going to add adhesive, glue this piece down to match the top, and then glue this one down to line up with the top as well. To glue the panels, I'm going to use my ATG adhesive gun, and then I'm just layering them and then gluing them down so that my complete roof panel is the 3 inches. And so the littlest goes on the medium, and then that medium piece goes over that original piece that we've made. And next I'm going to go ahead and glue the window onto the side of the front of the box. I find it's easier to do that because you can press down firmly before you fold it up. To glue the roof, I'm going to go ahead and add adhesive to the front flap of the box. I'm going to flip my roof over and then center it this way because I feel like I get a better visual and I can align it better. And then I press down, and then that's how it will look when you're done. So doing it the opposite way, I feel like you don't get to see the centering as well. And here you can center it nicely, and then now you have your both pieces of your roof on there good. I'm going to use a hole punch to punch the holes because I am going to use the ribbon, and I'm going to try to center it as much as possible. It is a little bit hard to see, but once I get those holes in there, I know I can thread the ribbon through both sides. I'm going to use some double-sided foam tape to glue the little kitty on there. And so I just put a few pieces on there so that she sticks down real nice. And then I'll figure out where I want her to sit, and then I'll go ahead and stick her down. And then you can press down firmly when the box is still flat. I'm going to go ahead and add the sentiment label to the roof now as well, and I'm going to also pop it up with some double-sided adhesive tape, foam tape. And then once I get that down, we'll be able to go ahead and put the box together. So I will start by folding down the side and adhering that. And once I have that part of my box constructed, I'll go ahead and do the bottom. So I'll undo the adhesive on the little flaps and then stick the one flap down, and then last will be that front flap to fold backwards towards the bottom. And to get a good press, I'll use my bone folder to rub it so that that adhesive gets a chance to really stick. So now I'm just going to add some floral embellishments, and I decided that I wanted to add some white flowers to the side, and I think that that looks really cute. And then I'm going to cut some ribbon and go ahead and thread that through to the front and then tie my bow. And of course, a project is not complete without a little sparkle, so I'm going to add some of my Spectrum Noir sparkle pen, I always have a hard time saying that, to the bow. So this is my finished project. I want to thank you all so much for watching. I hope you liked my tutorial and process video. And again, I hope you have a wonderful day of happy crafting. Until next time, bye everyone.